Welcome to I Wrote That, a podcast for entrepreneurs who are navigating the crazy world of authorship. Whether you're just starting out or already established, we want to help you navigate the publishing world with confidence. My name is Larissa, and this channel is brought to you by Next Page Publishing. With the help of our industry partners, we bring you the insights on the most challenging yet most rewarding parts of being an authorpreneur, along with the actionable tips to help you move your brand and your business forward. Don't forget to download your free copy of our book, Author Your Way to Your Next 100K, by visiting nextpagepublishing.net/author-your-way. Let's meet our next guest. Welcome back to another episode of I Wrote That. My name is Larissa, and I am your host and the CEO of Next Page Publishing. I forgot who I was for a second there. That's going to be the great start to a great episode. Today, we have a graduate of Next Page Publishing. So she's very used to my flubs and forgetting my words and all of the jazz that comes with the sparkly personality of myself. Today, we have Dr. Kimberly Gillette. And that's very formal. Even when I said it, she made the face. She's like, oh my goodness. Kim, my friend Kim is here today to talk about her journey into authordom and all of the goodness and the ups and downs that have come since she published her book back in November. Right, Kim?
November.
Yes. Quick intro to Kim. During her 25-year career as an international higher education, Kim assisted thousands of students and faculty in pursuing their educational goals. She experienced firsthand the challenges of pursuing a career, raising a family, and going back to school. Like many before her, job stress and a lack of work-life balance led to burnout. Been there, done that. And Kim was at a career crossroads, wondering what to do next. Recognizing the gap in support and services for people in her situation, Kim started her own business dedicated to helping others who were at their own career crossroads. In her first book, Rising Above the Noise, A Handbook for Living Life to the Fullest, Kim provides support, guidance, and wisdom for others enduring the stress of working and more. And that's an understatement of what your book talks about. It goes so much deeper than that. Kim, welcome. It's so great to have you back.
Thank you.
I feel like this is long overdue considering your book came out, almost a year ago when this episode is going to air. So welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be here. So excited to be here.
Yeah, it's really nice to have someone, that you and I worked so closely together for well over a year, creating your book. And I mean, just give us a little bit of background into even just the decision that this was something you were actually going to do. You were actually going to be an author.
I was going to be an author, and this was it's been in my head for quite a while that I was going to be an author. I just didn't know what kind of author. And when I was thinking about it, dreaming and visioning what kind of author, it was going to be more in the fiction space because I thought I had nothing useful to write about from real life experience. So it was, in fiction, you can kind of you get to make up worlds and stories and whatnot. So that's where I was going. And I had this moment when I was thinking about this, and some random person on LinkedIn named Larissa reached out to me and said, "Hey, have you thought about writing a book?" I was like, "Well, funny you should ask." I had been approached by a few other people, but kind of got stood up along the process of that courtship of trying to figure out if that was the right thing or not. Larissa was so easy. You were so easy to talk to. And I was sharing what I was thinking about, and your first thing was, you have enough life experience. Why not write about what you've been through? And I still didn't quite know how to frame that, but through your guidance, it was great. I was able to figure out what the story was and what it was that I needed to share and what I had to share that was going to be worthwhile for somebody else to read. And the first exercise, which I found really intimidating to do, was that ideal reader. And I struggled with that, and I couldn't figure that out. And I didn't know why we were working on that because I just wanted to write. But I will tell you, when things got tough and I couldn't figure out what to say, and I remember on more than one occasion being asked, "Your ideal reader, how is she gonna respond to that?" And being able to say, "Oh, she'll get this." I know, like, write some of the stories in the commercials. "She'll get this." And other things like, "Oh, maybe that's not for her." And luckily, my ideal writer is a conglomeration of people that I know, and one person in particular, and I was having lunch with her and said, "Hey, if I said this," she's like, "Oh, that's too dry." And so she helped me craft that. So anyway, I have nothing but good things to say about the whole process and the journey, although it was a journey and it was maybe longer than I anticipated. There's a lot to get through, not just in the terms of writing, but the emotional baggage and trauma that comes up while you're reliving some of the things you've been through.
Mm-hmm.
So it just took a while to process everything. Sorry, I am totally rambling here.
No, that was, I didn't mean to ask you for a testimonial, but wow, what a wonderful one that was. Kim, your book was so, to reiterate your point, it went so deeply personal into yourself and your stories. You share stories of, yourself growing up. I think it starts with the birthday party, right? And your book
Starts
has
with a
this
birthday party.
Yeah,
With a birthday
it's a
party.
very whimsical feeling to it, and it's so beautiful. And then it really does get to the core of what it means, honestly, to be a woman raising a family and trying to have a career and learning to love yourself and balance self-care with it all.
Right. And getting rid of or recognizing the noises. The noises that are surrounding us and then in our head, the things that we were taught as kids or that we saw other people do that we just ingrained in how we thought we had to be. So first of all, shout out to Larissa for making a little flub when she first did the intro, because that's part of it, is we are human. And I don't know about you, but this idea that you should always be perfect or shouldn't have mistakes, you always have to have your best foot forward. You know what? That's not realistic. But when we live with that and we're trying that and we're trying to raise our family and be like good role models and everything, it gets hard and we don't give ourselves enough grace. And so being able to do that and realize, hey, you know what? I'm human. I make mistakes. And that's good. And I'm going to embrace that. And I'm going to help others realize that that's okay. We don't have to be perfect. We're not. We're never going to be.
Yeah. One of the things I've started doing with my daughter, because it's also a good reminder for myself, right, that I struggle with, is at dinner, we ask, what was your favorite part of the day? But also, what was your favorite learning opportunity? And really, that's an underhanded way of saying, where'd you mess up and how did you use it to learn from it, right? And she started to come up with really beautiful things. And I think a lot of authors and entrepreneurs, because you and I deal in both spaces, right? You're an author and you deal with entrepreneurs. You are an entrepreneur and an author. It's the full circle here, right? We often, because of what we see on social media and on stages and stuff, we see polish. And that leads us to things that we have to be polished at all times. And your book, the way we work together, the way you work with your clients, is about progress over perfection. And that rising above the noise is a full embodiment of learning as you go, making mistakes, and then getting back up and doing it again.
Trying again and being okay with that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, back to your ideal reader. One, I'm really hoping I can trick you into singing it, because
you want me to sing the song?
yes, Calgon, take me away. So, in the ideal reader, we talk. So we always stress how important it is, right? And Kim was one of the few clients where I was not her ideal reader. I was not going to be the person that would pick this up and like resonate deeply with it. More likely, my mom was going to be like, she would pick it up. And in fact, she actually has read your book and has said raving things about it. But when I was reading your book, you would have phrases and things like this that were either beyond my decade or just not something I resonated with. And Calgon, take me away was one of them. Kim, do you want to sing it for us?
So actually, it wasn't even Calgon, take me away, but it's in that chapter.
Oh,
so
let's see. I got it.
Well, here we go. Right. So it has to do with, so the stories that of course, I wrote from my perspective and my generation, and it's for women of my generation. So it goes back to certain commercials and certain things that we were taught. So you're right in that it was a commercial and it was a song that had to do with that resin. Like if I start singing this, some of you are going to sing right along with me. So here we go. It has to do with the women that you can have it all and that you should have it all. And so the song goes something like this. I can bring home the bacon, da-da-da-da, fried up in a pan, ba-da-da-da, and never, ever, ever let you forget you're a man, 'cause I'm a woman. Enjoli.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. That might put the benchmark on best episode we've ever recorded. One of our singing.
There we go.
That
Yeah.
was such a moment for me as a coach to be able to step away and not coach you into a corner, essentially, not coach you into
Right.
what I thought was going to resonate because it had nothing to do with me. And I just want to thank you for that opportunity because over and over again, you stretched me to think bigger than even myself, right? And sometimes as coaches, we can get pigeonholed. So that was a wonderful experience for me.
I remember that conversation so clearly because you said, I don't understand this reference. I don't know, will your ideal reader, and before you even finish, I'm like, yes, she'll get it. She'll know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And you just had this moment of, oh, because I was so sure I knew who I was writing for. I knew what would resonate there. And definitely, yeah, I made her think beyond. She had to go back and learn some things that were before her time in this
Yes,
process.
Kim would send me YouTube videos of old commercials to watch so that I could coach her effectively. And I loved it so much that we could sing the song together. I will say I didn't actually learn the words because Kim sang it enough for me that I was like, I don't need to know. She's got it. It was such a beautiful thing. And I mean, that ideal reader, turns out this episode is going to be all about that. But
Right?
it
Yeah,
was so foundational in everything we did, right? The outline came from it,
it did.
the stories, the confidence too in your message came from knowing who your person was.
Definitely. And I will say the other thing is coming from the academic background that I had. So working in higher ed, having my PhD, like writing academically, the first chapters that I wrote were rather dry, I would say, when I look back
I,
on
I
it.
would concur. Yes.
The message was good, right? But I hadn't found my voice. It took a while. So for anybody else who's coming from like an academic background into writing this way in this genre, it does take a little while, and give yourself grace and write is just keep writing. Don't get stuck. Don't keep going back and trying to rework those first paragraphs or those first chapters. Keep going. It was probably chapter 7 where really the voice came through, and then I went back and it was much easier to rework them at that point and make them more colorful, more descriptive, more emotional. And with that's when it really also really clicked with the ideal reader, knowing who my audience was, where they were at, what would resonate with them. And yes, my ideal reader at the time was working in higher ed, so I was still trying to make that transition, but eventually it came. And
Yeah.
so just keep working.
Yeah, just keep working. All right, we're going to take a really quick commercial break. And when I come back, I want to talk about Mexico, which, if you're listening, you're like, wait, what are you talking about? I want to talk about Mexico. And I want to talk about how you used that time and the room and the space that we were in to really push your book through the home stretch. So be right back. This season on I Wrote That, we're not just talking about books, we're giving them to you. My brand new book, Author Your Way, is finally here. And you can download it right now, completely free at booksunlimited.app. That's booksunlimited.app. Inside, you'll learn how to write a business-boosting book that builds your authority, attracts aligned clients, and grows your income without getting lost in the publishing chaos. And here's the bonus. I've included a powerful resource kit to help you plan and start your book. Just follow the instructions inside the book to unlock it. And while you're there, check out a growing library of free reads, business books, memoirs, fiction, self-help, and more. No paywalls, no subscriptions, just powerful stories and big ideas, freely shared by bold authors. Visit booksunlimited.app and download your next chapter, starting with Author Your Way. Okay, we are back with Kim Gillette, who is the author of Rising Above the Noise, and one of the first, I think she was, author number 8 or something to graduate from the Next Page publishing program. I don't know if Kim even knows that, but she was very early on in the program. And she was also a participant in one of our first annual retreats where I took a group of, I think there was 7 of us, 6 or 7 of us.
6 or 7, yep.
6 or 7 to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico to work on our books, right? We had 6 or 7 writers with us, and the whole goal was to write. Now, Kim was one of the only few that actually did the writing, and myself included. I was like, oh, I'm in Mexico. I'm going to the beach. learned a lesson there. But Kim did what she was there to do, and she sat down and she wrote, and she spent a lot of her times on the lovely balcony overlooking the ocean. So like you weren't slave driving you by any means there. But what was that process for you? I mean, you were in the ending, right? You were in the last few chapters and it was a push to get there and it was starting to get to you slog. How did that retreat change things for you?
So that retreat was, in fact, I was just thinking about the retreat the other day, and it was such a wonderful time to get away and basically out of where I was at, out of my own surroundings, into a fresh new space, new perspective. And I knew when I went there, my goal was to finish writing my book. I think I had, I don't know, maybe a third of it left or something. I'm not quite sure where I was at, but that was my goal. And so the surroundings were absolutely beautiful. It was great to be out in a different environment. Of course, it was also at a time where it was really cold and snowy where I was from. So very nice to be in the sunshine, looking out over the ocean and having the nice breeze come through, and being surrounded by other authors was phenomenal. Even if they weren't working on their stuff, maybe they were noodling it around, who knows, or I know one was kind of putting the final touches on stuff. But it was just nice to be surrounded by women who were working on projects. And we had some worksheets and stuff that we did in the beginning that was really phenomenal and helped kind of set the tone for the day. And then, I don't know, just having that peace of mind. I didn't have to take the dog out. I didn't have to figure out what I was going to eat and when I was going to eat, anything like that. Everything was taken care of. I just needed to be in my space and do my writing how I wanted to. So.
And what I really liked about it, Kim, for you and I, is I think there were at least 3 or 4 mornings where you and I found ourselves alone on the pool deck of the private house we had rented. And we were just chatting about the book, about life. And I think it really deepened my connection to you as a client. And I saw the shift in your work too, right? In the way you were writing. I mean, you had some massive breakthroughs. I think one of them was you were integrating questions into the book, right? A lot of nonfiction.
Right, a lot of.
Yeah, a lot of nonfictions, we tailor in questions, prompts to get our readers thinking, right? So that it moves from storytelling into integration, which is a very, very common thing to do. But the way we had your questions laid out, it was a big old list. And it was overwhelming, right? Even you and I were like, oh, this doesn't feel good. How are we going to do this differently? And it was in Mexico, and I'm not even going to take credit for this. This was all you. It was in Mexico that you had the brainwave. You're like, I know how to do this. And you were able to go back through and integrate them throughout the chapters instead.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And it gave me ideas of what I'm going to do next. So.
Right. So let's talk about the after effect of publishing a book, right? So the world has been dynamic since you've published your book. Politically, environmentally, all of the things have weighed on you quite a bit.
Yes.
Yes. So since your book published in November, how have things been going? And we want your honest answer here.
I will say, so it was, you published this book, you put it out there, and I don't know, I was like, yeah, people are just going to see it, right? There's a lot of other work that has to happen. I spent more time writing the book and getting that going than I did on any of the marketing and any of the social stuff, obviously. I mean, maybe not obviously, but I did. That's where I spent my time. And I would say taking a break from that and kind of removing myself from that has been good. It's been, I know, as I was gearing up for this, it's like, oh, I wrote a book. What was my book about again? Because I've been a little bit away from it. But I'm really excited with this podcast and doing this because it gets me back into my book and what it is and how I can leverage this just out in the world and get it out to people. Because I think I know that there are some good tidbits in here that are helpful and useful. And the biggest thing, like, people, you're not alone going through this, and understanding that and having some helpful hints might be a good thing. Could be a good thing. So working with, for example, I've got a couple of clients now that their stories resonate so much with what I share that, hey, I'm sending them books. They're getting free copies of my books because I think it's important for them in their journey and where they're at, and to know how they can rise above the noise and come full circle and to the next party, to the after party, and keep celebrating and keep moving on and moving forward. So excited about that, excited about how else I can get the word out there and help people. Because
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what's happening to you right now, Kim, is you're going through an author evolution.
I'm going through an author evolution. Woo!
You're shedding the old belief system, right? That it's that marketing is passive. And I know you did it, you never thought that, but it's ingrained in us, right? Like a lot of the way the distribution is set up for authors is believing that if it's on Amazon, Amazon's going to do the heavy lifting for you, right? They're going to do the marketing. You're along the shelves of, a million other books, but you are on the shelves with millions of other books. There is no marketing that's done without your hand in it one way or another. So what you're doing effectively, Kim, is you're moving away from the belief that sales are everything, that it has to be related to book sales. Now you're seeing the book as a tool to connect deeper with your clients or with your audience. I know you had talked at one point too, you were partnering with a local flower shop, I believe it was.
Well, so the idea is, and we still haven't done it just because, life, and just you need some extra energy sometimes to do some of this. But it's still on our radar. I've got in my local women's networking empowerment group, I have somebody who has a flower shop, and I have somebody who does herbal teas. She grows her own flowers and herbs and creates teas and lotions and whatnot from that. So the three of us are planning on doing a celebration at the flower shop with my book and with the teas and the flowers to just augment all three of our businesses and what it is that we have to offer, and help others realize that there's some support and love out there as well.
That there's lots of people in their corner, right?
Lots of people in their corner.
You definitely need to check out Kim's book. We're going to put the link down in the show notes so that you can see her cover, and then you'll be like, yes, that makes sense. Of course it's going to be
beautiful.
Right. It's gorgeous. It's going to be, of course, it needs to be next to flowers and boutique teas, because that is its ambiance. That's the soul of the book right there, right? It's community, connection, support, love, light, all of these very deeply feminine things put in a tool that is very relatable and implementable, if that's a word. I don't think that's a word.
No, but we'll make it.
I don't think that's a word. No, Kim's like her academic background's going, what are you talking about? But
I can't even think of the synonym that the word that
no, neither can I. There are no words for what I'm trying to say, so I'm going to make my new ones.
There we go.
Kim, just the journey with you has been wonderful, and you are on the other side of things now. And now we're starting to open the brain workshop to other ways that we can be using our books. That's not just selling them on Amazon, right? And that is an evolution. And some authors go through it while they're writing. Some authors come into it knowing that they're never going to sell copies of their book, and some authors take a year after their book to go, wait, maybe I should do this differently, right? It's beautiful.
And we're all on our own timeline with all of that. But it is good to have some accountability. That was the one thing. I knew I wanted to write a book. The one thing for the intake with Larissa was, what's stopping you? I'm like, I'm just not going to do it on my own. I know that. So having those bi-weekly check-ins held me accountable. I may still not have gotten it where I wanted to be as quickly, but that's okay, because the process I needed to go through to get there is what I had to do. And so if some chapters took longer because I had other stuff I had to work through, that's okay. And that's good. And I'm really proud of this work that I did. I would not have done it without Larissa. So I'm really, really happy that our paths did connect, and I had great coaching experience with her.
Well, thank you so much. And having you as a client was absolutely wonderful. Okay, Kim, my last two questions for you. One, how can people connect with you? I know the world is changing. People are looking at work differently. I heard a stat the other day that 60% of the generation that's coming out of school and going into post-secondary right now refuses to go into corporate. So things are looking good for the entrepreneur world. But how can people connect with you if they want to, one, talk about your book, or two, work with you in the long run?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different spaces. Probably the easiest is the website that I have, which is really for my book, but you can reach out to me there and I can get you connected either any direction that I'm working on things, is drkgillette.com. So drkgillette.com. And that's probably the easiest one to remember.
Yeah, and we'll make sure we put that in the show notes. All right. Okay, my last question. What advice do you have for aspiring authors?
Do it.
Do it.
Just do it. Just write. Don't wait for it to be perfect. Don't wait for the right words. Just sit down and just start writing. And if you get that blank page and you don't know what to write, just start writing. Hey, this is a blank page and I have no idea how to fill it up. And eventually it morphs into what the stories or the ideas that you're trying to get across.
That sounds like from experience. Do you sit in front of a blank page and write those words once?
Sometimes, yeah.
More than once? Yeah.
More than once.
Absolutely. Just write. Start putting words down. Go to ChatGPT and ask it to give you a prompt about what you should write about. There's so many tools to help us these days.
Right.
Yeah,
and if you can't think of something, the other thing that I started doing too is if I couldn't think and I was just kind of stuck, was just looking around like, oh, how would I describe? If I were to write like description of my room right now, how would I describe it? And just start to try to get the brain going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Kim. It's an absolute pleasure to have you back. And I cannot wait to see what you do going forward now that you have this inspiration back in your back pocket. Thanks for tuning in to I Wrote That. Don't forget to download your free copy of Author Your Way to kickstart your journey as an entrepreneur. You'll find the link in today's show notes. And if you enjoyed today's episode, we'd love for you to leave us a review. It helps more listeners like you discover the show. Until next time, happy writing.